Yeah,
happy
you
to.
are. You are. We always have youth commission speak. So I've been through the we have to introduce a few people.
Good. How are you? What should I just like talk about what we do?
I'll say that for you.
Okay. Sorry, man.
You're youth commission.
Yeah.
What's your name?
Aces. Okay. No worries. I'm the constant chair waters.
Yeah, so you're close to
Asa.
Asa.
Yeah.
We have two youth commissioners.
Not here. Who's the third?
I don't know. People coming in. I'm going to make them move up. All right, here we go. Hey, good evening, everybody. Let me first of all welcome all of you. And I know that there'll be still more people coming in. This is our 9th town hall. It's the first time we've done one here. And the reason why we're starting so punctually is because we are now live on Olelo television, and we will be for the next 2 hours from 6:30 to 8:30. My name is Rick Blangiardiʻs. In case you don't know, I have the privilege of serving as the 15th mayor of the city and county of Honolulu. It is the challenge of a lifetime. It is the privilege of a lifetime, and it is also the responsibility of a lifetime. So we thank you for being here tonight. Our town halls have been very good. We didn't come here tonight to make speeches. We came here tonight to answer questions. I'll get into that in a bit, but we've got a couple of things we'd like to do in the beginning. And first of all, we're going to call up Pastor Josh Koko from the First Assembly Church of God. Where's Pastor? Here he is, and he's going to start off with a pule.
Thank you, Mayor Rick Blangiardiʻs, and aloha and welcome. My name is Pastor Joshua Koko, and I'm pastoring at First Assembly of God. And we are one church in 6 locations. Our main campus is at Red Hill, Honolulu, Salt Lake area, but I've had the privilege of serving right here at Koko Head Elementary at our campus over there. And we've been serving a community since 1946, 77 years. And so we're just so privileged to be a part of Hawaii and our history here. But today, as I was thinking about as I was driving here, the scripture says in Psalms chapter 133, it says this: "Behold, how good and pleasant it is when brothers and sisters dwell together in unity." Where there is unity, God commands his blessing, life forevermore. The Hawaiian word is lokahi. And I think what's so important, it's so important that it meant so much back then, but it means so much today. Unity doesn't mean sameness. It doesn't mean that we all agree, but it does mean that we are in agreement to work it out in the spirit of aloha. And I'm just praying that today, as I pray, that we're going to ask God's blessing to be upon our town hall meeting today. Can we pray that today? Let's bow our heads. Father, we thank you, Lord, that you are here. In your word, you said that where 2 or more are gathered, you're here. You're the God who sees, the God who hears, the God who answers prayer. Our hearts are filled with gratitude today because you have given us all things to life. Lord, we thank you for our Mayor, Rick Blangiardiʻs, for the councilmen, for the representatives, Father, for his staff, for allowing them to lead and to serve our community in tumultuous times. God, we need good leadership in our city. Lord, those who are standing for righteousness, that we might perpetuate life forevermore. Lord, in this room, we are all diverse from different backgrounds, beliefs, but one thing that knits us together is the fabric of aloha in our hearts. And I pray, Lord, that as we come together, God, that through our actions, through our speech, through our kindness, God, that you would just command your blessing here in Hawaii Kai as we deal with the challenges in our culture today. In a world that is tearing itself apart, may Hawaii Kai be an example, God, of the blessing, God, and the hope, not just for ourselves, but future generations, God, a hope for our community, a hope for our nation, and a hope to the entire world, Father. Lord, that you would lead and guide us. Would you command a blessing today? And Lord, let peace rule and reign as your presence is here. We thank you, Lord. We love you. In Jesus' name, and all God's people said, amen.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We appreciate that. I'd like to make a couple of quick introductions, if I may. First of all, we have two very important people from our city council here tonight. The chair of the city council, Tommy Waters. And our vice chair, the illustrious Esther Kiana. Yeah. Now, I have names of a few of the representatives from this area, but I don't see any here. Gene Ward. Here you are, Gene. Okay. Thank you for coming. Yeah. I may actually call you up in a second or two here to say something. If you okay with that? I know you're kind of shy, but I may call you up here in a second. Well, I know. How about in a minute? You get comfortable, and I'll bring you up because I want to make a couple of quick introductions. All right. I think anybody else is here, but as they come in, if they come in, I will certainly introduce them. But as I said earlier, we're not here to make speeches. We're here to answer questions and make this as worthwhile for you as we can possibly do over the course of the next 2 hours. One of the things that we did coming into office, we made a decision that we wanted to engage our youth. We stood up as a youth commission. We've had a lot of really terrific young people come through. We have two of them here tonight. And what I'd like to do from a development standpoint, if anybody's going to make a speech here tonight, I'm going to give them each a couple of minutes. So first of all, I'm going to call up Asa Shimizu. Where's Asa? I was talking to him. Is he here? Come on up. So Asa, it's a little bit like name, rank, serial number, and why you're on the youth commission and where you're going with your life. How's that? Yeah, no, it's all yours.
All right.
I'm going to leave you alone.
Got it. My name is Asa Shimizu. I'm a sophomore at Punahou. And the reason why I wanted to join the Youth Commission is because I saw changes that needed to be made in my community, this district, and I thought that I was the one to do it. And the Youth Commission so far has been a great experience for me. I'm learning new things every step along the way. And I am honored to be able to say that I'm currently in the process of passing 2 resolutions urging the Parks and Recreations of Hawaii to have more recycling bins at all public beaches and parks, as well as make youth sports fees more affordable for those in need. And yeah, I'd be honored for any people, if they have any questions or urges, I'd be happy to help them in the best way that I can. And yeah.
Thank you, Asa. Karn-ho. Karn-ho. I'll say it again. Karn-ho. There you go, Karn.
Hello, everyone. My name is Kon Ho. I'm a junior at Punahou School, and this is my first term serving on the Youth Commission. So I've been on the Youth Commission for about 5 months. And so the reason why I decided to get involved was mainly because as a young person, we're unable to vote, yes. But I felt a call to action to be civically engaged in my community, and that's why I applied to the Youth Commission. Fortunately enough, Mayor Blangiardiʻs appointed me to the position, and ever since, it's been a great experience, learning the ins and outs of local government, and most of all, learning to collaborate with my peers in order to achieve change in our local communities. Right now, I'm currently authoring 2 resolutions on youth intervention, trying to prevent youth crime in our communities. And it's been an amazing experience, like I mentioned before, being able to work with other youth who are so engaged with civics and helping their communities. It's been an amazing experience. But most of all, my greatest takeaway from it has been being able to serve the youth of Oahu, being able to give them a voice in local government, and that's something I hope to continue on throughout my term and continue to be a civically engaged citizen into my future. So thank you for your time.
Hello. You can't, is this too close? You can't hear anything. Can you hear me now? You can hear that. Is that better? They're holding the microphone. Can you hear me now? Better? Okay. We've got a team of audio guys. I'm sorry that you couldn't hear it, but we want to make sure that you can hear. You still can't hear us. You can't hear us up there either? It's echoing. That's a problem. Let's just see. It's the first time this has happened. We've had, yeah. Sorry about that. I'm glad you spoke up though. Because I could hear it over there pretty loud. Okay. All right, well, this might be terribly unfair of me. The microphone's not working. You call it Gene Ward right now to get into it. I'm sorry, the microphones are not working, but I know you can amplify. I have heard you many times, sir. That's better? It's better? Okay, we'll get it right. I promise you. Come on up, Gene. A couple of minutes, sir, on why you came to the town hall. Anything else you want to say to these wonderful people?
Thank you, sir. Aloha mai kako, aloha. Thank you, everyone, for coming out. This is what democracy is all about, and especially when you bring your whole entourage. This is impressive. The city and county is here, and the police are here. I only have a very brief statement. First, with a question. How many of you have problems with your insurance? Either your hurricane has been canceled or your condo insurance has gone through the roof. This has been, Mayor, a huge complaint to my office. People are frightened. People on fixed incomes are having a problem. Unbeknownst to Tommy and others, we are having a town hall meeting on the 2nd of July at Hahioni School to hear from the insurance commissioner, to hear from the insurance companies, and Mayor, you are invited to be a sponsor as well as the other senators who are in the area. This is something we left on the table at the session. In the legislative session, we left insurance on the table, we left the money for HECO on the table, and we've got a lot of stuff we got to catch up with. Even if we need a special session, we got to make sure that you guys don't get thrown out of your house. But Mayor, especially for you, thank you for gracing us with your presence. Aloha.
Thank you, Gene. All right, so the next order of business, and I'm very proud of the people behind me, in each and every one of our town halls, and this is our 9th this year, we did 11 last year, our cabinet comes. And our cabinet comes for a lot of reasons. Because first and foremost, we want to make sure, in the questions that get asked, that you not only have the right person here, if it's something that I can't handle, that you have an ongoing connection as well. Because we want to be able to do that, because what we're here to do is to try to help in any way, in every way we can. Some of these men and women behind me are not going to be asked a question tonight. They have not been asked a question before. But our philosophy is we really want to take a holistic approach. So even if you don't get asked, we want everybody to understand in each and every district that we meet what the top issues are. Because while there are some common denominators, each district is proven to be different. Each one of our town halls is proven to be different. And that's what we love about doing this. So without any further ado, I'm going to start off with Amy, and we're going to work our way down and across, and they'll tell you who they are and what they do. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. My name is Amy Osselby, and I'm the Executive Director for the Office of Economic Revitalization. I have the privilege of serving with Herb, Chair Mayor, and a number of others on the Hawaii Kai Neighborhood Board. Thank you.
Amy. My name is Kira Shushom. I'm the city's Chief Data Officer. I'm here to actually help our various departments streamline our data management. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Kira. Good evening, everyone. Gene Albano, Director of the Department of Facility Maintenance. We are responsible for maintaining and upkeeping all of the city assets and infrastructure, including sidewalks, streets, streams. So if there is any concern or issues, please reach out to me this evening, and we can continue our dialogue to address any of your concerns. Thank you.
Aloha, my name is Mark Wong. I'm the Director of the Department of Information Technology, and my department handles computers, networks, and all the technology in the city.
Aloha, everyone. I'm Kevin O'Shea. I'm the Deputy Director of the Mayor's Office of Housing. I'm also a Hawaii Kai resident, so thank you very much. Grateful for all of you being here tonight. Mahalo.
Aloha, mai kako. John Nouchi, Deputy Director of the Department of Transportation Services. I also have the great pleasure of serving as Mayor's Rep for the Neighborhood Board Number 2, Kuli'o'o Ainahena Kalani'iki. So I hope there are some of the people that I know from Neighborhood Board out there.
Aloha everyone, Jordana Ferrer. I'm the Child Care Resource Coordinator. My kuleana is to our youngest kids, their ohana, and the professionals that serve them. Thank you so much for being here.
Hi everyone, I'm Kim Hashur. I'm the Director for the Department of Customer Services. Our department includes the satellite city halls, DMV, and public communication.
Good evening. My name is Brian Gallagher. I'm the city's Department of Design and Construction Deputy Director. We work with the various departments, especially Department of Facilities Maintenance, road repaving, improvements to buildings, facilities, infrastructure, you name it. We try to help all the departments as much as we can.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Kat Tashner. I am the Director for the Department of Land Management. We protect, develop, and manage the city's real property interests. Thanks for being here tonight.
Good evening, everyone. Aloha. My name is Andy Kawano, Director of Budget and Fiscal Services. We oversee real property taxes, the accounting, fiscal, treasury, etc. for the city. Look forward to answering questions. Thank you. Bye.
Aloha mai kako. My name is Ka'ili Trask O'Connell, and I'm the Executive Director of MOCA, which is the Mayor's Office of Culture and the Arts. Mahalo for being here.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Erwin Kawata. I'm the Deputy Manager at the Board of Water Supply. Thank you for having us.
Aloha, Ernie Lau, Board of Water Supply.
It's always hard to follow Ernie. Aloha and good evening. My name is Denise Iseri Matsubara, and I'm the Executive Director for the Office of Housing. Thank you for letting us be a part of your evening.
Hi, good evening. My name is Ian Santi. I'm the Deputy Director of the Honolulu Emergency Services Department. We oversee the ambulances, the lifeguards, the city's health services, and our core program.
Aloha, everyone. My name is Sam Moku. I am the Mayor's Homeless Coordinator. Glad to be here. Aloha.
Aloha, everybody. I'm Dawn Apuna, Department of Planning and Permitting, DPP. Thank you for having us.
Good evening. I'm Nola Miyazaki. I'm the Director of the Department of Human Resources, and we have the privilege of managing the city's 10,000 plus workforce, from labor relations to hiring, benefits, workers' comp, the whole gamut. And we are open for hiring. I brought one of my top recruiters, Darcy Amata, so if you know anyone looking for a wonderful place to work, the city is has been named one of the best public employers in the state by Forbes magazine. So please see us after the town hall. We'll be around to talk to anybody who's interested. Thank you.
Aloha, I'm Roger Morton. I'm the Director of the Department of Transportation Services. We're the multimodal transportation agency for the city. We operate all the public transit systems, the bus, the handy van, Skyline. We also take care of streets. In terms of traffic engineering, we take care of traffic signals. We take care of bike lanes, complete streets, and I'm also a proud resident of Waikiki for the past 55 years.
Aloha, everyone. Mike O'Keefe. I'm the Deputy Director with the Department of Environmental Services. We manage most of the island's wastewater treatment and disposal systems, including 2,100 miles of sewer systems, 72 pump stations, and 9 treatment plants. We also manage the solid waste systems on Oahu, including all of the curbside collection operations and H-Power and the landfill. Thank you for being here.
Aloha and good evening. My name is Matt Gonzler, and I serve as the Executive Director for the Mayor's Office of Climate Change, Sustainability, and Resiliency, and we have the privilege to work with all of the departments to address the root cause of climate change while also ensuring we're taking actions to be more climate ready for the future.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Mike Formby, and I'm the city's Managing Director.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Krishna Jayaram. I'm the Deputy Managing Director. Thank you for being here tonight.
Good evening and aloha. My name is Dita Hollyfield. I'm the Director of Enterprise Services. We oversee the 6 golf courses, the municipal golf courses, the Honolulu Zoo, and the Blaisdell campus and the Waikiki Shell. Thank you so much for joining us this evening.
Aloha, I'm Anton Krucky. I'm the Director of the Department of Community Services. We do all the human services activities representing the city. So we do our elderly affairs. We also do Work Hawaii for job training and outreach. We also are the public housing department for the city, Section 8 vouchers and such. We have our community-based development division, which manages property and other HUD programs that come in. We also manage the grants and aid program for the city. And the mayor has also brought homelessness and the child care coordinator into our department. I'm a Hawaii resident. I'm glad to be here. My 2 boys went to Kamiloiki and Kaiser High School. Go Cougars.
Aloha, everyone. My name is Andy Sugg. I'm the Mayor's Chief of Staff. Thank you all for being here tonight.
Aloha, I'm Laura Thielen, the Director for the City and County Department of Parks and Recreation. We handle parks, recreation, but also urban forestry, all the street trees, the botanical gardens, and the community gardens. We also manage a lot of citywide events, and we have Mayor's Memorial Day, where we are trying to get lei for every single grave marker for soldiers at Punch Bowl. So please, if you have time tomorrow, drop by one of our sites where we have volunteers helping to sow lei. We have masses of flowers, tea leaf. We could show you how to sew a tea leaf lei. If you work downtown, stop by Honolulu Hale. And there are other sites on our website, including Wailupe Community Park.
Good evening. My name is Kevin Mokulehua, Assistant Chief in the Honolulu Fire Department. It's an honor and privilege to be here this evening. Thank you.
Aloha, everyone. My name is Brian Lynch. I'm the major for District 7, which starts at Puno Street and goes all the way out to Makapu. So I'm the guy in charge of whatever complaints you might have for us. I'd be happy to answer whatever they are. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Ryan Nishabun. I'm the Assistant Chief. I oversee 4 of our 8 patrol districts, and I'm his boss.
Aloha. My name is Hiro Toi. I'm with the Department of Emergency Management. We coordinate the city's disaster preparedness, response, and recovery.
Hiro, thank you. Okay, this is how we're going to do it tonight. Every venue has been different. And last year, when we did this area, we did it at Kalani High School. Tonight's a little bit different. We have a combination of people seated and in the bleachers. So rather than have a central microphone, we will get to everybody tonight. In fact, we have to go off the air at 8:30, but we don't run out of here, and we will stay here. But we hope to get a lot done between now and then as well. So we have 2 people. Chastity right there, raise your hand, and Brandy, where's Brandy? Brandy's right there. They'll come to you with a microphone, so you can stay where you are. And the only thing I ask is that you introduce yourself. You just can give us your first name, if you will. The other request I would make is that we are civil to each other, okay? You can ask us anything you want. There's an unfiltered situation, and I say this every time. You may not like the answer, but we're going to be truthful with you. But we also want to encourage you to let us know what you think, what you know, what you want to say. That said, because we want to answer a lot of questions, I don't want to be rude to anybody. I really don't. But if you start making a long speech, I'm going to read something that's going to, I'm not going to let that happen. I'm just going to ask you to get to the question. I'll be polite about it, but I'm warning you nicely, okay? But we realize it takes a little while to give some context, so we're okay with that. But we've learned the hard way that you know, we want to move on. We want to get to as many things as possible. So that said, just a couple of things I just want to echo. NOLA was dead serious. We are in the business of hiring people. So it may not be anybody here, but maybe you have a relative or somebody you know. You know, the city is driven by the men and women who work for it. This is the leadership team here, and I'm really proud of them. Very proud of them. In fact, we've been together for nearly 3.5 years. I like what we've done so far. The best is still in front of us. But we're dead serious about that, so please, you know, take us up on that. The other thing is this good-looking guy in the middle with the white hair. He got up very modest. His name is Mike Formby. He's the managing director. Just so you know how the city works, and Krishna is his deputy, all of these men and women report directly to Michael. The people who report to me are the lawyers, and they're not even here tonight. But the city goes this way. And so Mike is our quarterback. He's sort of a coach. And so just know that. So with that, I'm very anxious to get into our first question of the evening. I think we set it up. Anybody who's up first? You just raise your hand. Lisa. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. My name is Lisa Bishop, and I'm with Friends of Hanauma Bay. It is my privilege to share the great news this evening with all of you that Friends of Hanauma Bay has reached a settlement agreement with the City and County of Honolulu over the Hanauma Bay Fund. It's taken 10 years, but the City and County is going to be returning over about $5.3 million back to the Hanauma Bay Fund. And I'm here to say that this administration has been the first administration that's been willing to work with Friends of Hanauma Bay in order to resolve all of the issues that we've been working for a good 10 years. Not only do we thank the mayor and his staff, but we'd also like to thank Councilmember Waters and the City Council for helping to push the settlement through the City Council financially. I'd also like to thank the Hawaii Kai Neighborhood Board, who has supported Friends of Hanauma Bay through all of these years of struggle and listened to us month after month at the Neighborhood Board. And I'd also like to thank Representative Jean Ward, who has been a staunch supporter of the Friends, both at the county level, but also at the state legislature. This has been a great win, not just for the relationship between a small NGO like Friends of Hanauma Bay and the city and county, but ultimately it's a huge win for Hanauma Bay that all of us love. So I wanted to thank the mayor. Mr. Mayor, we met in January of 2020 when you first came into office, and you told us we will work with you to resolve this issue. And you met that. You carried through, and you did it.
Thank you, Lisa. Thank you.
No, thank you.
No,
we really appreciate it.
What a great way to start the night. Thank you. We're really honored and pleased to be able to do that. All right, here we go.
Aloha, Mr. Mayor, and thank you all for being here. My name is Heleni Sonoda Pale. I am a resident of Kuli'o'o, and I have two issues. I have two concerns. Okay, the first one is Red Hill. I'm on the Community Representation Initiative. I just found out literally this week that they're going to start degassing 12.5 million tanks starting next week. That's a lot of toxic gas going into the air. My concern is for the Halawa prison residents, 700 of them, which is right next door, and also to the suburb that's surrounding it. And I'm just asking you to please follow up to make sure this is not going to be, we all know it's flammable, And I'm not
Well,
sure.
let's do one question at a time.
Sure.
Ernie, I'm going to call on you to share whatever you might know about this. But I would say this. We listened to the defueling process by the Navy at the time, and we were involved from the day it happened. Red Hill was one of the 3 unimaginable events that happened on our watch. When we got around to actually defueling the tanks, and Admiral Wade, Mike and I went up to Indo-PACOM for a briefing. It was an incredible plan that they laid out. To their credit, they executed flawlessly. I have to believe that this next segment is just as well planned. But I'm going to turn to Ernie, who's our expert on Red Hill. Okay.
Aloha, hey Alani, good to see you.
Hi.
I heard today, I attended a governor's water committee meeting, and the Deputy Director of Health, Kathy Ho, reported that there are going to be 9 air monitoring stations around the Red Hill facility. And I heard that there will be one at the Hawaii Halava Correctional Facility too.
Great.
Because those people they're kind of a captive audience. They can't go anywhere. And it's going to be very important to monitor the air quality. What they're doing, folks, is before they can go in and clean the tank, each of those, there are 14 tanks they have to clean. They have to vent out the vapors out of the tanks so it's safe for the workers to go into it. So they're going to start venting. I think your date is probably correct. And I think they're going to do 1 or 2 tanks at a time, not all 14 tanks. And also monitor the air quality around the facility.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you,
Ernie.
Yolanda.
Yeah, and we did get, we did suggest that to the Department of Health, who then suggested it to the military, who then is now following up on it. But my question to you, you're in charge of the fire stations, right? I just want you to be aware that this is a dangerous situation, and we should be very cautious about the degassing period, which is, we don't know really how long it's going to be, and it is flammable. And so I wanted to
appreciate
bring that to your attention.
I don't know if, Chief, you want to say anything to that. I think we're totally aware of anything going on. Red Hill,
Thank you, Mayor. Well, first and foremost, we want to stress to the community, if they have any kind of emergency where there's any kind of gaseous fumes or gas leak or anything, they got to call 911. We will respond. We have efficient resources to respond and mitigate the emergency. We have 2 hazardous materials units on our island. One is in Kalihi, the other one's in Kapolei. We have 43 fire stations. We have 68 units ready to respond. So if there's any kind of emergency, we will respond and mitigate the incident.
Thank you. In light of Lahaina fires, I'm just bringing it up, okay? I'm a resident, lifelong.
I agree.
Okay, next question, Mayor. So Pu'uhonua o Wailupe, we were here, when you came last year, this was an issue and it's still an issue.
I thought you were going to chant tonight. You were so
No,
good
we're not
last night.
chanting because we appreciate that you did follow up after that meeting, right? We had Formby come and visit our site, but we're still waiting. We're still in the process. And I just want to remind the mayor and his staff that this is actually the fault of the county. The DPP gave a permit to build on a graveyard, on a Native Hawaiian, ancient Hawaiian grave site. So we're in this situation that's unresolved still. And they've required us, the county, the land management division, required us to do an AIS. They changed the whole process on us before we went forward. And because of that, we had to uncover 2 more burials, which has caused a lot of trauma in our community. And so we're still in the process of it, and I'm hoping we can still get this resolved maybe before the next election.
Let's see. Mike handed the phone to Kat Tashner, who's our Director of Land Management. Kat?
Hi, good evening, Kahalani. So what this organization did was applied to the city's Clean Water and Natural Lands program. It's a conservation land fund, and the application that we received was not complete. We needed more information, so that's why they're doing an archaeological inventory study to determine what exists on the property, and then that can inform, you know, what kind of conservation effort the city does. So we're awaiting the completed application. As soon as we get it, our Clean Water and Natural Lands program manager is here tonight. I understand he's working very closely with you to understand what the next process is.
And I want to just point out too, thank you, Kat, that burials there are well documented from the 1920s. The fact that they made us do an AIS, which caused so much trauma because it is a graveyard. So we had to actually have the archaeologists dig into the ground. And I you know, apologies for getting a little emotional here, but it is our kupuna. Mahalo.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Kat. So right there is just a little bit of a sample of hopefully the resource we have to offer you tonight, and here are the three people. Since I mentioned that Red Hill was one of the unimaginable events in just our short 3.5 years in office, the first was the obvious, something we all experienced and lived through, which was COVID, which really, quite honestly, was a lot of our first year in office, and just dealing with that. It was more than distracting. It was consuming, all-consuming, for so many reasons. Then, of course, the third was the Lahaina wildfires. These are extraordinary events, and so we've tried to do on the areas in which it's impacted us directly and what we need to do for Oahu. We've tried to do our very best. We've worked through all three, and we'll continue to work through. We're still dealing with COVID as an issue. We're certainly going to deal with the Lahaina wildfires as well, and Red Hill is ongoing. So thank you. Sir.
Herb Schreiner, longtime resident of Hawaii Kai, and I'm on the neighborhood board. I want to thank you, the administration, and the council for working with Hanauma Bay. I've been around long enough that I go to their meetings and work with them, and we're excited about that. Is there a date or a contract or anything that has to be done before it heads that way?
You're talking about before we pay the money?
Yeah.
Is there a contract? Where are we, Andy, on the settlement of the $5.3 million to Hanauma Bay? You want to know if there was a date and time?
So the $5 million settlement for Hanauma Bay was transferred to the fund, the preserve fund, and it happened yesterday.
Awesome. Thank you.
Okay.
And then the other issue, I'm a Parks and Rec guy on the neighborhood board, is Koko Crater Stables. I would like to see what the update is.
Okay, I'm going to ask Mike Formby. I know I just talked to Kim Hollingsworth a moment ago, but I'm going to ask you, Mike, on the Koko Crater Stables.
Can I pass it to Krishna?
Sure, you can do that. I love these guys. Go ahead, Mike.
So thank you for that question. We had a very good meeting with Ms. Hollingsworth maybe 4 or 5 weeks ago. Yeah, and we agreed on a plan to proceed. There is a certain amount of money in the CIP for this year that's going to be used for the water. And working with Chair Waters, we're also putting in $500,000 into next year's operating budget so we can do more work on the property. The first step is going to be that dilapidated building in the front. So we're going to take that down. That's going to take some time. We got to figure out what kind of materials are in there, if there's anything that needs to be handled, asbestos, lead, a certain way. But that's the next step, and then we're going to continue working with Ms. Hollingsworth on how to make that property, which really is such a jewel in the community, you know, to really bring it up to its full potential.
Thank you, Mayor.
All right, Herb, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next question.
My name is Mia Lisa Otis, and I'm here with Pu'uhonua Owailupe. And of course, backing up what Heilani was saying, construction and desecration was stopped on February 12, 2022, and we've hit up the multiple neighborhood boards, and we passed resolutions in Kuli'o, Kalani'iki, Hawaii Kai, Waimanalo. We were in newspaper articles, and we sent out consultation letters around the neighborhood. And June 8th, 2022, we had meetings with the director of DLM and Budget and Finance. So just to give you a timeline, we submitted the application January 6, 2023 with Clean Water Natural Land. And things are moving along, but it seems to be stuck in the AIS, which we don't think we needed to do, but it was done, and more desecration was done.
So do you have a question?
Yes, I'm just giving a background.
Okay.
I think, or I'm hoping DLM or some organization can help communication with SHPD, like maybe DPP, because they have the Oahu Historic Preservation Commission. I don't know if anyone's here for that, but we need to put some pressure on SHPD to work together to get this through the city.
Okay, thank you. Denise? Dawn?
I have another question.
Dawn is the... Yeah, you know, I'm going to have you just ask one, and we're going to move around, and we'll come back to you, okay? And in fact, if I had a request, I probably should have said, I don't mind, but we want to get as many in, so you can ask as many questions. I like to do one at a time and just keep it moving, okay? If we can do that. Go ahead, Dawn.
So thank you for your question for the Oahu Historic Preservation Commission that has been recently set up, and so we're developing what their scope of work is, et cetera. So it'd probably not be useful or helpful for them to look at it now, but we do have the archaeologist in our staff who is running that commission, and I can have him take a look and see if there's something that we can do. So I'll get your information, we can see. Thank you.
Yeah, and we'll just establish contact with you, and I promise you I'll come back to the second question, but let's just try to cover a lot of ground. And what I'd like to do, too, I should have said this in the beginning, is that once we've gone through a topic, I'd like to have that be the topic of the evening or the discussion, we move on. Okay, so we could just make this... Well, people can offer different perspectives. I don't know what's undemocratic about that. I'm just simply saying I want to move along on a topic. Different questions. There's a lot of different people here. That's a presupposition on your part that may not be true. Okay? I'm just trying to... We want to be... I didn't cut her off. I said I would come back to a second question, and you see that Dawn is right up there right now making contact with her. I'm not cutting anybody off. I just said I don't want anybody reading speeches. We'd like to answer questions. That's fair. Okay? Yeah, I'll come around to you, sir. Okay? Because it's going to be on the same thing. I'll come around to you. Over here. Before we leave, how's that? Does that work for you? Before we leave. Sir, question? We have to get a microphone.
Does this help? Oh, good. My name is Sid McWhorter. I'm on the Friends. Okay. I'm on the Friends of Hanauma Bay. To close off the thing, in the settlement, money was one thing, but the more important thing was how we were going to move forward so that we don't have a reoccurrence of what has happened in past administrations. And Mayor, you and your staff has worked very closely with us, where we'll have biannual audits that we will be participating in the budget cycles with them. But this is the critical part from our standpoint of moving forward.
Okay.
Thank you.
I appreciate that, Sid. Thank you. Look, this job of being mayor, I say this all the time, is about problem solving. We came tonight to meet as many of you as possible on as wide array of topics as we can, which is why we brought the cabinet. I will move it around. We're in here for 2 hours. We'll get to everybody. And if we don't do it then, while we're live on TV, we'll get it before we leave. But we want to answer as many questions as possible in the spirit of serving the community as best as possible. And what you make us aware of, and the people that are here that can maybe answer on the spot or establish a contact, I think is the highest and best use of having everyone here. So we'll get to everybody. Sir, Justin, she's going to give you a microphone.
Appreciate it, Mayor. Thank you for the time and opportunity. I want to thank the pastor that did the scripture. I really appreciate everybody's time here and your cabinet. You know, I've always been, for the past 15 years, wanted to ask this question, yeah? It's concerning illegal aerials.
I'm sorry, what's it?
Illegal aerial fireworks.
Illegal fireworks.
I just want to get my topic in because I got to head on out. But, you know, the city council approved the ban statewide, also the legislators, Senate, and I'm aware of those that went through the process. But I got to explain the reason why I'm always, you know, we as community residents shouldn't be the resource or be the brain behind all this. Yeah, the brain should be the resources that has law enforcement powers and so forth. I'm just a community resident that is aware of what's going on, and somebody needs to speak about it. Money laundering, wiring money out of state, because we don't have a factory here that sells aerial fireworks, right? So you got to get it from somewhere. So you would think the resources would have brains to work on that issue for understanding what conspiracy.
Okay, so the question is illegal fireworks.
Can the fire department explain?
Yep.
And also the police department can explain, just, you know, with integrity, respond, please. You know, to my question is, why this keep going on illegally, and who's profiting from this?
Well, I think we know who's profiting, but
thank you.
Do you guys want to take? Do you want to take a shot at that? Okay, because I've got some strong statements about that too. Okay.
Check. So who's profiting? I'll be quite honest. I don't know.
Well, I'm referring to money laundering. Yeah.
Okay.
Money laundering is an illegal process
Right.
of illegal profit of money.
Right.
So somebody's making billions and billions and billions and billions and billion dollars of these containers reaching to Hawaii. That's what I view on the news and everywhere else. And I just want to know what resources and brains. I shouldn't even need to be here asking this question. I'm not a law enforcement.
That's okay.
I'm a community.
All right, you've asked your question.
Yes, sir.
So I can add to the question. You're going real deeper than what I would know as a patrol major. However, we live on an island. Whatever gets here, either a boat or a plane, right? So it wasn't us, but the newly formed Department of Law Enforcement, I think it's the DLM, whatever we call them nowadays. They have authority to go into the piers. And I don't know if you saw on the news, but recently they've made significant busts on the pier, whole containers, cargo mats and containers full of fireworks. That's something that we didn't have before. So, and we're working with them as well. So that's something different that we never tried before, right? So going deeper into your question, I don't have an answer for money laundering and stuff like that. But I was just at City Council today. Thank you, Chair Waters, for helping us with the camera thing that we're doing out there. Very involved in trying to figure out the fireworks thing. It's a complex issue between cultural things, and I was born and raised here. We did fireworks from little kid time, right? But as far as the question of deeper ties to organized crime and stuff like that, I can't say whether or not that's true. But I can say that we are doing different things now, and we're coming up with better results. It's not going to be an overnight thing. This coming New Year's isn't going to be horribly different than the prior one, but over several years, it'll probably change.
Okay. Really appreciate the response.
Sure.
Yeah, thank you.
And if I'm not mistaken, last year we confiscated 38 tons. 38 tons. That was unprecedented. Here's what drives me crazy about, not your question, the circumstance. We had Lahaina happen to the horror of everybody. And the pain and suffering beyond anything I just said a few moments ago was unimaginable. We, going through the New Year's weekend, did everything we could on television, radio, print, everything, begging and pleading people not to use aerial fireworks this past year. And I stood on top of a mountain New Year's Eve and saw more aerial fireworks than I think I've ever seen before, despite the dangers and the lessons learned from Lahaina. So this is definitely not a simple answer, okay? And the fact that we confiscated 38 and they're doing more undercover work or whatever, this is a real challenge and it's a real danger. So that's why I appreciate the question, but it's not easily done. I have to be careful here when I talk about this stuff. But that's the responsibility of people, that they have to own that. it's not all on our police department. The very people who are shooting off aerial fireworks to the detriment of their neighbors, and even if a fire doesn't happen, it can cause damage to solar panels. It could do a lot of stuff. But the very lesson you would think that we learned from Lahaina on the potential and the power and the deadly force of wildfires and what could get triggered, if that wasn't a lesson learned, and yet it seemed like nobody heeded it. So I appreciate the question. Sir, I appreciate all the efforts both our fire department and our police department make. Okay. Yes, well, I don't know if there's anything else that he can add. Sir, Chief, you want to say anything? Go ahead.
Sure. I'll say a few words. No, thank you, Mayor. So we do want to stress that aerial fireworks are extremely dangerous. You know, they've been banned in the state of Hawaii for decades now. And, as a department, we do our best to enforce the law with regards to fireworks. We have a fireworks inspector. We have fire inspectors. We monitor the licensing of those that can legally bring them in. So, for example, the show you see at the Hilton Hawaiian Village, they have to have a certificate of fitness. We do inspections at their bunkers to make sure that everything's stored properly. We make sure that we send guys out to the shows to make sure there's proper setbacks. And that's what I wanted to stress upon, because the guys that are using illegal aerial fireworks in our typical neighborhoods, they don't know the extreme danger that they're putting themselves as well as their family and friends at risk. The setback requirements for that kind of fireworks is hundreds of feet, and yet they're setting them on the streets and they're posing a huge danger to their community. So I wish they would realize that. There are standards in place for using fireworks by professionals. That's why they're professionals. That's why we maintain and enforce licensing and inspection. So I just wanted to...
No, I appreciate that, Chief.
I really appreciate the response, Chief. I just got one more question to the Chief, just to respond. So if you sell permits for firecrackers, would you ever make a permit for aerial fireworks?
If you're referring to providing permits for the community, absolutely not. We're actually for a total ban on all fireworks, including firecrackers. That's been the Honolulu Fire Department's stance for many, many years now. The only thing that's allowed in the county of Honolulu would be firecrackers with a permit, and you have to get that through our website. But we're absolutely not for any kind of permit for any kind of aerial or consumer type fireworks.
I'm in agreement with that, sir. Thank you. Do we have a question right here? We'll come.
Yeah.
Good, sir.
Thank you, Mayor. Robin Bond Jr. With Hawaii News Now, where I probably won't be for much longer.
Can you hold your microphone up?
Yeah, I'm just going to go down so you guys can kind of echo back there, so you can hopefully hear what I have to say. All right, I'll give it a shot, but it's bouncing off the wall for someone back here, so I'm going to try it here. I'm just going to read out a headline from our Hawaii News Now. On the 27th, reads, officers posted outside mayor's office after alleged heated discussion with Ocean Safety Chief. I'm guessing most of you didn't catch this because it was just in the news once on social media. It didn't make it out on the television, but it did go out on their social media. My question is, what's the mechanism what is it that has to happen to get police officers using our tax dollars to guard an empty office? Like, is it because I know you were out of town, you were in D.C., I believe, and there was a meeting that you had on the 9th, I believe, with John, where it got heated, and that was never mentioned in the news. I made an effort to go to my news with this, by the way. I just want to put that out there.
So what is your question?
What's the mechanism, I guess this would be directed to the police department, that from the administration side to the police department that activates them to greenlight putting 2 paid officers in front of your office when you're in D.C.? What is that just directly to the
Well, I wasn't just in D.C. My office has 3 people working in there.
I apologize.
And the door, I know, but I'm just telling you, since I used to run Hawaii News Now, I can tell you, you're asking me directly, I'm going to tell you. And there are 3 people who were in my office who requested that. And I've learned, as I've aged in life, that people fear differently. And what might frighten you doesn't bother me, or vice versa. So that was a request of employees, and we accommodated that. That then led to putting security on the door, okay? And the police were asked to leave. We had no security in the mayor's office. since I've been in office for 3.5 years, I've had more people come to visit, and they walk in, they say, where's the security? I can't believe it. If you've ever been to a city hall elsewhere, it's like going through the airport. So if we had some employees who were really concerned and requested that, we honored that until we could get the security part put on the door. And it wasn't that easy because they're coal wood doors, they're historical, and we had to make sure we did everything properly. That's what took a little bit of time.
But the mechanism to communicate the need, like it says in the news, from a spokesperson, which I would assume would be the managing director, and I'll just quote it straight from your news. It says, a spokesperson, which can only be either the managing director, yourself, or perhaps Scott, somebody with the authority to speak on behalf of the city. A spokesperson says, would not comment on that meeting, the meeting on the 9th, but said that perceived security threats, in quotes, sometimes warrant additional coverage regarding additional security. Most of you don't know John Tishon. Some of you do know. He is not a person that is a threat.
I never said John was.
You were in D.C. and we had cops at the door of your office.
I never said John was.
I don't understand how that works. Like, why would we need to guard your office if you're in D.C. at a sustainability event and John's been suspended on the 23rd?
I was at a homeless event, number one.
Sorry, a homeless
for
event.
the U.S. Conference of Mayors.
Homeless event in
Okay.
D.C.
And I was there for just 3 days. And, you know, we took care of that. As I said, we honored the request of our employees. That's the mechanism, okay? We have security in the building. We had some concerns. We did that, okay? That's it. I'm not going to discuss a personnel matter.
I understand that it's a personnel matter. Once a personal matter, so our news changed that one word, personnel. I don't know why you're letting the police answer the question. Like, I'm not asking you for administration. I'm asking what the police department have to do with that. Like, what is he asking? My gosh, how much were used for that?
Your question is, just so I understand, that's what Mike just asked me. Why did the police get involved? That's not the first time. That's not the first time the police have been up to my office. That's not the first time. You know, I drive myself. I have no security. Okay? And I've had no security at the front office of the mayor's office. That's unheard of. Okay? So there was good reason that was asked about by our employees, and we honored their request. And there was reason for that. That's as far as I'm going to take it. I have a responsibility to the men and women who work at the city and county.
Yeah. I'd like to respond. If you come into City Hall, the managing director's office has a secure entry system. If you go to City Council has a secure entry system. The only office in City Hall that does not have a secure entry system is the mayor's office. And when staff on the mayor's office feel there's a threat, then we have the right to call for police to provide additional security. And we don't have to tell the public who the fear is or who's afraid. We don't have to do that. And so the police don't have the answer. I have the answer, and the mayor has the answer, and we've given it to you. When our staff feel threatened, we have the right to call for security. And we don't have to tell you who they fear or who those people are. That's the answer. There's nothing else to say about it, honestly. It's done.
Thank you. Sir.
Aloha, Mayor, and thank you to you and your staff for being here. It's really cool that you're doing that. My name is Justin, and I am one of the many people, and I would say majority of people, that support the Stairway. I'm looking around, I'm seeing an awful lot of signs here today. Thank you for all your support. I didn't ask these people to come or do that. So just to be clear, my question to you is this. I'm going to give you some context here. You've stated many times that there's no viable access to the Stairway, but in fact, the city's own environmental impact statement that was done by Ernie's administration, the Board of Water Supply, as they transferred it to Laura's administration, the Department of Parks and Recreation, they identified at least 10 routes and specifically advocated for one on Po'okela Street that was viable, and they provided a solution that would work, that would avoid the neighborhood and would also solve all the other problems. So ultimately, my question to you is, why did you decide to abandon, and I'm glad Ms. Kia Aina is here too, because I think she has probably a bigger role to play than you do, unfortunately, to say. But why did you guys decide to abandon what the city's own documents had said was viable and possible? The prior administration, Mayor Caldwell supported, and the vast majority of residents on this island support. I just don't understand. Could you please explain that?
Thank you, Justin.
We have a lot of fans. I appreciate your answer. Thank you.
Well, you know, I think your supposition is that we didn't do our due diligence.
So what did you do? Let's find out.
We talked to a lot of the neighbors. We did a lot of other things. We did a lot of investigation on this matter. I started out saying I wanted to save the stairs. That's where I started initially. And after a lot of process, realized it wasn't viable. Okay?
But the only
so I
public
think, Justin, wait a minute. In the spirit of this town hall tonight, even though you've got the support here, we've taken this through due process. We've been to court now a couple of times. Okay? You know what the rulings are. The stairs are coming down. The point is finished. The decision's been made.
With all due respect, I understand your
With
decision.
all due respect, Justin, the decision's been made, and this is not an environment that you're going to win. I'll be happy to talk to you afterwards about it. I'll be very happy to engage that, you and anybody else. But where we are right now, the stairs are coming down. Okay?
With all due respect, I apologize. They are still there. I think a lot of people in this room want them to be saved, and there is a solution that the city has not documented why that's not feasible. I would appreciate, and you can do this later, but I'd like your answer now. Where can we find the proof that you say exists that nothing is possible? Where is that publicly stated?
We could provide that. And we have. We've provided the documentation that we've needed to do that, Justin. Okay?
Where?
Well, that's why we were in court.
Where is it?
I'm sorry. We made the decision. The stairs are coming down. We did everything the right way, and that's where it is. If you
It's
don't
a
like
mistake.
it,
Thank
you
you.
for coming tonight. That's the situation.
Hello,
Okay.
I want to follow up on this.
I want to stay on one topic. You have
My
a
name
different
is
topic?
Inessa Love, and I'm a professor of economics
Good.
at the UH Manoa. And I want to talk about the economic impact of destroying a valuable asset that can bring millions of dollars to the community for years to come. And now, the environmental and fiscal impact study that has been done by the city identify that the only positive present value option is managed access. So now, and they also identify that it will cost $1 million to remove the stairs. Now the amount rose to $2.6 million of our taxpayer money. It's our money, people.
Thank you. I'm going to end this here right now. I
So
said
we
no
are
speeches
thinking-
tonight. No.
I'm not making a speech.
No,
I'm
you are
asking
making a
question.
speech. First of all, the security alone, that the supposition on managed access, we could put one police officer there, that doesn't work on a 24/7 operation. Not the least of which is the neighbors there in that neighborhood for years that have been violated. Not the least of which is the security risk in all the rescues. And I don't want to hear nobody ever died up there. Nobody ever died up there because incredible rescues took place. Do you know how many rescues took place? Oh, more than one. Thank you. You know, I didn't come here to argue, and I'm not going to argue with you. I am not going to argue with you. Okay? I'm done with the topic. I'm done.
There are more people
Inessa,
here.
I'm done. Done.
It's not over.
Done with the topic.
There are more people that want to ask this question. People care about it.
I will put Brian up here on the phone for a second. But
This
one
is
topic.
our money
The stairs
that
are
you're
coming
using
down.
to
We've been through
destroy
the
the
court.
stairs.
We've been through the courts. Excuse me? No, I didn't, sir. Okay. You know, your point's been made. We've gone through the process. We went to court. I'll say it over and over again, not once but twice. The judge's ruling is there. All the documentation, Justin, you just alluded to, think we didn't have any. It's all there. It's all there. Mike?
Yeah, I just want to add one thing on the alternative managed access. Mayor and I went out and visited the site with the Friends of the Stairs, and we told them at the time that our priority was public safety and the ability of homeowners to go home to their homes, their houses, their children, their families in security and respite at the end of a long day. And we said to the Friends, if you get the community that has complained about the trespassers, the feces, the urine, the bottles, the broken fences, the cut barbed wire, all of that, if you can get them to agree, we'll have a conversation. Senator Schatz sent a gentleman in, and that gentleman tried to bring the group together, and he could not do it, and the Friends never got the community together. And then that's the truth. The Friends never got the community to agree that managed access would work. Because if you say to a local resident, you're going to pay $50 or $100 to hike the stairs, and they think I can park on a neighborhood street, cut through a lawn and get there, they're not going to pay the money. There's many reasons. Environmental reasons, there's many reasons, but I'll tell you, we gave the Friends an opportunity to bring the community together and support managed access, and they did not do it. That's the truth.
We did everything. You know how many? We took probably 4 or 5 meetings with the Friends in the conference room before we ever went out into the field. And I wasn't going to talk about what Senator Schatz had done because we talked about this because of the pressures that come to bear. We did a deep dive on this, a real deep dive. So no, I haven't hiked the stairs. Would I have liked to have done that? Yeah, I'm not going to deny that, but I didn't. Okay? And the stairs were never built for that purpose. And somebody had to make a decision, and we came to that. You know, when we first got into office, we were dealing with security issues in the neighborhood because they put the Wendy's on the poly, and they didn't put a wall behind it and create a lot of problems. And we went ahead and built a wall for the sake of the neighborhood. They're very happy. It's the same thing here. It's the same thing. Actually, it's an extension of what this guy just asked me about. When people start talking about feeling fearful and scared and whatever else, there was a lot of stuff that went on over a long period of time that's not cool to those homes there, okay? And we owed it to that public. The managed access, we looked at the whole plan. We walked the grounds with them, and it wasn't hostile. We were friendly. We were looking to get convinced. We couldn't get there. We could not get there. So.
Is this also about the stairs?
You know, look, I don't understand if you want to sit here and waste the time tonight on an issue that I've already told you is done. I think the issue is done. I'll come back to you if you're going to talk about the stairs. I don't know what more I can tell you. We've been through a very extensive legal process on this. It's not going to get reversed.
I worked there back in 1996, 97 with the Coast Guard, and I was there during the close down. Steve Holmes and Jeremy Harris was our mayor. Both said the stairs were going to be kept up and they were going to turn the Omega Station into a museum.
Yep.
And none of that has happened. The station has been destroyed.
Yes, it has.
We wanted to recycle the copper and aluminum, but they said no, keep everything in place because we're going to turn it into a museum. And we agreed. We said that'd be a great idea that you turn this into a museum for the public to have. But now everything's been stripped out and ripped out of it, and the stairs now is going to be ripped out. It's like both promises to us are being.
Why didn't make those promises? We made a decision after extensive due diligence and extensive legal process. I don't know what else I can say to you, sir. Okay? That was a long time ago when Jeremy Harris was mayor. Okay? It was. And when the Coast Guard ran the stairs, it was probably its best era in post-World War II. That didn't exist. Yeah. So why didn't the Coast Guard keep doing it then? Why didn't they keep doing it? Why didn't the Coast Guard keep doing it? Why did the Coast Guard get rid of the stairs? Well, you were there then. You were there.
The Coast Guard was willing, when we took down the antenna, we had offered to take the stairs down, and the city said no, keep them there. They were
Okay.
going to make this into a park.
Well, they didn't. Brian, is there anything you wanted to say? Because you came up here. I didn't mean to cut you off. Brian Gallagher is our deputy manager.
The contractor for the project has already started dismantling the stairs, cutting the stairs, and is getting ready to remove them. It's already, they have the approvals, they're moving forward.
It's a
That's where we're at.
full-blown construction site. If any of you... Okay. All right. You know? Yeah, and I would like to do that. I think we've covered the stairs enough, okay? Look, in all fairness, decision's been made. We went through a couple of years on this. This wasn't capricious. This wasn't a knee-jerk. And it certainly wasn't done for political gain, Justin, as evidenced here, okay? This is a decision that was long overdue to be made. Next up. Okay.
Thank you very much. Thank you all for being here and your hard work. James Panis, and the topic is the surfboard racks in Waikiki. We had 2 burnings of the surfboard. The surfboard racks were burned twice. I lost my board in the first burning. I never opted to get a board in the second phase of and they got burned again. And recently, the city put up a temporary surfboard rack for
68 boards. Yeah.
I'm 75 this year.
Yep.
And the city never contacted me about the lottery. They only contacted the people from the second burning, which I think is kind of perplexing to me.
Well, we're trying to get more board space. In fact, we have a meeting. This is a topic right now this week. Dita, you were in the meeting yesterday. We're going to, look, I'll tell you this. My personal belief, because we tried with the Moana Surf Rider, with Keolia, and they produced the pictures of the last fire. I mean, it's very dangerous in that hotel. It was a raging fire. This wasn't like a little campfire. It was very dangerous. Not once but twice there was vandalism. They had a $500,000 deductible. They paid $1 million. The damage was in the millions. It cost them. The likelihood, even though we've cleaned up the area adjacent to the hotel, to put it back there, not going to happen, even with covered and sprinklers and everything else that we've offered to do. But there are some other sites that have been selected that we're going to be meeting on. And the point is, I think surfboards in Waikiki are almost, if I can say this about an inanimate object, indigenous. They look good down there. It almost fulfills on an optic for anybody visiting when they come, especially if they've never been to Waikiki before, to see that. And we know that this is a different group of surfers than, say, out on the North Shore. We get it. And so we talked just about that. So we're trying to get the racks, and maybe, Dee, you can share a little bit more light, because I was not in this meeting just yesterday. And Linda's here. Where's Linda? I just saw her. Okay?
Linda's right there.
You were in the meeting too, right? Okay.
First of all, thank you so much for your heart for the surfing community. I was having trouble hearing you, so I hope that I'm answering your question fairly. Just yesterday, we had Chief of Staff and myself and some surfing community enthusiasts with the lockers. There were 600 lockers there before, and because of the stakeholders, we have the hotel, we have, of course, the Parks and Recreation, we have the Waikiki stakeholders, and of course DES. And the best that we could do, because we're working on feasibility studies, we have to make sure that there's not a third fire, and we have to go through the proper channels and the business model here at the city, and we're doing our due diligence. We felt like what we at least could provide in a temporary situation is to at least offer those people with ADA and senior status. And so we put together 60 lockers of that, and we are also discussing maybe we can get to everybody on the list, but it is going to be a temporary option for us, and we're going to be about 2 years away from really getting all the stakeholders together, coming up with a plan that's safe for everybody involved, and of course we want to provide the best service that we can for the surfing community in Waikiki.
Well, I appreciate your answer, but my main concern is why wasn't everybody involved in the lottery for the 60 lockers? You only had the surfers from the second fire involved in the lottery, not like me from the first fire. And I don't know why all the people weren't, all the over 70 surfers from the first fire and the second fire in the lottery. And so I felt like I was left out of the process. Yeah.
I would love to spend time with you after this, but I do want to say that we talked with Linda yesterday about it. So if we have 60 lockers and the people that have ADA needs and that lost their boards in the fire and that are a certain age, who's the next group that we get to? And then that group, is that fair to that group? Who's the next group that we got to? So we came up with the idea of a lottery. I'm not sure it was a perfect solution, but it was definitely something that we could financially support through our concessionaire partner and provide something in a quicker solution so that we could at least address those issues. And I'd love to talk to you after.
I appreciate that. I've been surfing Waikiki for 40 years, and I never needed a locker for the first 20, but I had a locker for 20 years there, and then I'm left out of the process. So it's just a little.
Well, it's a lousy thing that happened, and we're trying to make the best of it. And I promise you, we're going to get it restored. I don't know if we're ever going to get to 600 boards, which is what we had, but we're going to do whatever we can. It's going to be much more than what we've currently got going. It's taking a while to set it up.
And I know in the bigger scheme of things.
And Linda can tell you.
Come talk to me after the meeting. My name is Linda Kea, and I'm a part of the Waikiki Surf Rack Ohana. So let's talk after. I know you from the lockers. I remember from back in the day. So I'd rather leave the meeting for like this side of the island, so that let's keep going on that.
We've put a lot of time and effort into this. We want to get it right. I promise you. Okay, you are, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Yes.
Hi. I'm Margaret Orand. Mr. Mayor, I know that you care deeply about the welfare of your elderly voters. There is a group of us whose very livelihood is threatened by the passage of a state law that allows counties to ban short-term rentals. We would like to see an ordinance that allows short-term rental hosts who live on their rental property to be able to rent short-term. Since they live on their property, letting them make a living as they had planned to do has no effect on the housing supply. My home has not been on the market for 50 years. Better yet, passing this ordinance will be easy. We already have a professionally drafted ordinance ready for you. It will not cost anything to implement and will bump up declining GET, TAT, and OTAT taxes, tax revenues. Will you help your elderly voters who depend on short-term rentals for their retirement income?
Okay, Margaret, first I want to turn, does anybody here want to say, the subject of short-term vacation rentals is a pretty complicated one in the sense that what you said, it's Margaret, right? We understand people who live there and it's in their house, that's one thing. The other one is in resort zone areas, people who bought condo hotels in Waikiki elsewhere, that's kind of a different dynamic as well. Yes. We gave them an opportunity to register. And then the other part is the ones that are in neighborhoods that are owned 50% by offshore people who turn the neighborhoods into party houses. We had 3 million people in 2019, the year before COVID happened, out of 10.6 million visitors. It's a statewide number, staying in illegal short-term vacation rentals, great loss of taxes, local people got subordinated, all of that. So what we did when we signed Bill 41 into law was to take an aggressive stance against short-term vacation rentals. As we've worked through that, I certainly hear what you're saying, and we've talked about that. What we're trying to do is restore the integrity of neighborhoods, not have them be part of it, actually try to produce or create, because we can't build housing fast enough, what used to be rental housing in a market back over to a local population. But more than anything, if you talk to the hotel operators, and there's very few hotel rooms that have been built. Just yesterday I was in Waikiki at the new Highgate project, which they added 43 rooms. Very few rooms have been built, almost nothing for the longest time. The hotel operators will tell you that at a high level of occupancy over the course of a year, let's say 90% plus, statewide, the suite number for tourism is about 7.5 to 8 million at a very high level of occupancy. And that's not unlike what we're experiencing right now, okay? And so we looked at that at 10.6, and it was headed to 11. If COVID didn't happen in 2020, if you go back and look at all the facts, you hear all the reports, the projections, we've been over 11 million. That was way too much pressure on this place. And everybody was giving in to the almighty dollar. It was very seductive. Airlines kept flying people over here. They didn't care where they stayed. And so this was a chance for us to regain some of the magic, if you will, in our respective neighborhoods. Now, I realize to some extent, and I can only promise you, we're going to look at that as we are looking in the resort area. But I would tell you, when 50% are owned by people who don't even live here in Hawaii, Margaret, the opposite of you. 27 of that percent own 20 or more. They're companies, they're not people. So we're trying to be really sensitive as we evolve in this situation where we don't wholesale this place when it deserves to be retail. So I promise you we're going to give a really good look at that.
We are Kama'aina.
Yes.
My family's been here since the 30s, 1930s. And we love Hawaii. And we love to pass that love on to our visitors. We give them an experience that they're not going to get in a hotel.
I don't disagree.
And
Margaret,
when we're on the property, you don't get noisy parties. You can't even hear anything from my house because the beach park is so noisy and so awful, like the property around the stairs. You can't hear anything that's coming from me, and I make sure that there isn't anything coming from
Margaret,
me.
I have no doubt. And I don't know how many of you there are, but we know they're out there.
There are a few hundred.
Yeah. So
That's all we want is something carved out for us to be able to continue to give good service, and people come back to us.
No law is perfect. No law is absolute. We've taken a really good look at our problem solving. I said a few moments ago up here, being mayor spoke problem solving. This was not a good problem, and people were screaming about this, about the overrun and illegal vacation rentals. And so, you know, I think we're getting to a place now, because we have some very sophisticated software, we can map and we understand. So we're evolving in our enforcement. Now, have you been fined already?
No.
Okay, good. All right.
And I pay my taxes.
I know. Yes, thank you, Margaret. I do. Okay. Thank you.
Mayor, up here. Mayor.
Okay, Brandy, sir.
It's regarding building permits.
Is this microphone on? I don't think we can hear you, sir.
Yeah, this is regarding building permits, and I'm going to read from my prepared script. My wife and I need the name of the person who can help us replace our original drawings with the corrected version. We just need an electric meter at our Waimanalo farm so that we can water automatically and provide power to our mobile security office. As the building department requested, the plans were prepared by an electrical engineer who has done all the required corrections. We hired an expediter to help us navigate the process, but she has been unsuccessful. We dropped off 4 sets of completed, corrected, stamped plans at the building department, and within hours, the building department called us requesting we pick them up, explaining...
Okay. What is your question?
The question is, I'm frustrated. I've waited 4, and I won't use an expletive, years to get electricity at my nursery. And all I've hired, and I've done everything the building department wants. I can't seem to submit the corrected plans, and I can't get anyone to help me. And if someone could contact me and tell me how to submit the corrected plans, I'd really appreciate it.
All right, this is the director of the department, right here, right now. 4 years. You said 4 years?
4. So unlike 4 years.
4 years. Go ahead, Don.
Yeah, thank you. So I can help you. I'll take your information. We can look at what's happening and how to move it forward.
Thank you, Lord. And thank you, Mayor, for coming out and letting people vent and express their frustration. And I enjoy going up to your office around Christmas time. I get in, there's no security, and I'm the one that drops off a little bottle of honey, which I believe is allowed under the gift of, I guess, something or others. Thank you.
Panzanella, thank you very much. Thank you. No, Don will be here. As I said at the outset tonight, you can have a great contact directly with the people here. So you don't have to feel like you're up against, I called City Hall and nobody responded. Let's come back over here. You had the question. What? You had the question. Okay. You're welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, City Council, City and County of Honolulu, and if you get any state agencies here, thank you for being here. I'd like to give you guys one quick snippet of a life story, and then I'm going to get to my question. But at 10 years old, have any of you ever experienced this? That you went to your family's gravesite and was empty. Dug out of the ground. Took me 60 years to find them. Yeah? 60 years. So I just wanted to give you guys that image because that's the responsibility that we take in protecting our iwi kupuna. Because they cannot speak for themselves. So somebody got to speak up for them. So my question going to be to you, Mr. Mayor, because we have found iwi up until about a month ago. We have found iwi in the Wailupi area at the Pu'uhonu o Wailupi site, which Mr. Unterman, the developer, is actually supporting our process, but the holdup with the city, and I'm guessing the state, but I think it's the city side, is coming out of his pocket. The developer is losing money.
The developer's losing money, but they found EV on the property.
No,
right?
he wants to sell the property, and we're in an end process that we went through all the steps with the city and the state, and we're at the process of now having Department of, what is it called?
Shifty. It's in Shifty now.
Shifty's at the state. That's
The
at the,
LMR,
that's, at,
yeah.
that's at the state.
Okay. So
That stands for the State Historic Preservation.
I know the lady back there went answer some of that questions earlier. I think her name is Kat. But my question to you is now, who's going to be responsible if we keep uncovering EV? Is the city going to be responsible? Because the holdup is what's the problem for us. And I'm sure with the city and the developer. It's a three-party system going on.
Yeah, he's asking you who's going to be responsible. We're having a hard time understanding you on this piece of property.
You know what? Maybe I don't need that mic.
Yeah.
So my question is, who will be responsible? Because we found Iwi Kupuna up until a month ago. Yeah? The AIS that they will require us to do also found Iwi Kupuna.
So the question is, though,
who will take the responsibility if we keep finding Iwi? Because we attend that area at least once a month.
So you want the development to stop, is what you're saying? Just keep
No, I don't want the development to stop. We're trying to malama that place, yeah?
Yep.
As we go through the process with you folks.
Okay.
The city and the state. But the drag somehow in the bureaucratic system is causing some issues, not only for us, but of course, like I said, the developer is pulling money out of his pocket. Yeah.
Okay.
And
he lost everything in the Lahaina fires too.
Okay.
We cannot go around Shifty. The city cannot go around Shifty, so we have to go through that process.
it's been a stall.
Yeah, we hear that a lot.
How can you help us?
Dawn in DPP, she can call the director in DLNR and ask if they can expedite it in Shifty, but they have manpower issues just like the city does, and so it does get stuck, and we understand that. I mean, we empathize with you because you care about the site and the cultural integrity of that. We get that. Dawn, will you call over to DLNR and see if you can find out the status and expedite it?
Yes.
Yeah.
I know, yeah, definitely. Let me get your information again.
We're happy to do that.
You know, if there's one thing I hate to say, especially with these meetings, when we're on live television right now, I hate to say it's the state, because I don't want to pass the buck. I don't. The whole idea and the spirit of this is to problem solve, identify problems, but Shifty is a real challenge even for us. It is. So Dawn will be a liaison in this. Okay. Yep. You're welcome.
Mayor, on
Thank
the
you.
side.
You're welcome. Thank you.
On
Okay.
the side, Mayor.
Who's got
Right over
Chat-
here.
Okay, and then we'll get to you. Yep. Okay.
Aloha.
Aloha.
My name is Michelle Shaw. I'm also a resident here at Hawaii Kai for many, many years. My concern is actually our electrical infrastructure. I know all of you have experienced, and many times recently, power outages here in Hawaii Kai, with the most recent being in April from the 14th to the 15th, where it was almost 24 hours. I've hiked up to Hahione Ridge, and I've seen that they did change and make more resilient some of the power lines that are over the ridge that goes down to Waimanalo, because I understand that that's where our electricity comes from. but I was just wanting to use this as an opportunity to find out what it is, city and county or Hawaiian Electric doing to strengthen our infrastructure so that the residents in Hawaii Kai don't have, after, not a major storm, experience so many electrical outages.
Well, that's become a big concern island-wide. I don't know if anybody wants to take a shot at that. That's a HECO issue, She's asking if the city is doing anything with respect to strengthening power lines, and I said it's really a HECO issue.
Yeah, what HERO and the fire and the police are doing is we're working with HECO in the event of a power shutoff, because that's a concern for us, because that would not be one day, it could be 2 days or 3 days. So we're planning for the worst, but for day-to-day operations, when HECO has to shut down a part of the grid because of capacity, the city has no jurisdiction or role in that, other than we work with HECO and let them know the impact that it has, but we don't have the ability to change that. But we are planning for the bigger possible shutoffs.
But I will tell you what we do, though, is that understanding the importance of electrical power and what it means, and quite honestly, in some cases, life-sustaining issues. Our first responders are on high alert on that. And none of us like the threat of potential rolling blackouts or when they happen and all the other issues we're facing. So I think that's the best thing the city can do, is to ensure, to the best of our ability, that we're on high alert when there's blackouts like that. I don't know if there's anything you guys want to add to that, but that's pretty much it. We just hope for the best. A lot of conversations going on with HECO. A lot of conversations now. Ma'am, Brandy has one. Now come to you. Okay.
Hello, Mayor. My name is Arlene Velasco, and I'm the current chair of the Surfrider Oahu chapter. And I just want to raise awareness, and I have a question about the chronic pollution we've been facing on our oceans. We have been testing about 25 sites for about 5 years or longer. And right here in this neighborhood, there's 3 sites we test every other week. And one of them, the Kuli'o'o stream, has consistently been polluted 84% of the time that it's been tested. And that, of course, flows out to the ocean, and you can assume that the water's polluted. So with this last storm event, we've also tested right during the storm, and we're still waiting for those results. But my question is, what is the city doing now to address the chronic pollution that the watersheds and our oceans are facing?
Arlene, good question. Good to see you again. Mike and Gene, both of you guys, probably at some point. Gene Albano, Director for Facilities and Maintenance.
I'm sorry. I really could not hear where I was. Can you just repeat the question?
Yeah, the question is, we have a chronic pollution problem on our oceans, which comes from the streams and it flows out. And so the question I have right now is, what action is the city taking to address the pollution issues our oceans are facing?
How we are addressing the pollution issues as the streams, the runoffs go into the ocean.
Well, that's one source of pollution, but we've also know that the cesspools are another source of pollution.
ENV.
So it's a big question. I just wanted to let
from
the
a
community
stormwater,
know that we have pollution
from a
problems.
stormwater quality or stormwater runoff condition, we have protocol in place to ensure that we are ensuring that we meet EPA standards, such that if we do have to release waters into the oceans from the streams, we go through the process getting approval to allow the streams to go into the water from a stormwater standpoint. But if it's cesspool, Brian, you want to take care of that?
This is where the city, so Department of Design and Construction and Department of Facilities and Maintenance, we work together on community notification. It's like, hey, please be aware of preventing things to go into storm drains. Which all those storm drains on all of your streets, they all lead to waterways, which all leads to the ocean, which is the core of what you're getting at, right? So it really starts with the community keeping an eye, Please don't dump your oil down into the storm drains anymore. When contractors are out there, they put out all the protective things and the barriers. DPP, make sure that all the contractors, they check and they inspect, make sure they have all the proper equipment and all the silt fencing on their property and all the storm drain inlets. Our department, DDC, has the projects we are currently working on and fixing storm drainage ways within the Hawaii Kai area, from Kahala all the way through, all the way through to Hawaii Kai. So it's old drainage ways. There's concrete failure, DFM during storm drains. They'll open up the stream house to prevent flooding. But the big portion of the pollution that we're really worried about, it actually comes from normal usage of the public. It comes from people's properties. It's oil that falls from cars. It's people disposing of things illegally or they just don't know. They've always stored something random on their property and they just don't know. So we really work together to try and prepare and let everybody know. It starts with the public. The city takes an active stance on it. We have permitting processes and we work it, but we have to work together. So I'd be happy to get your information. Gene and I can work together on that, and because we're both, it's the best interest of everybody around to make sure that our water is clean, and it ties into what Gene was talking about with the NPDES program, which is the Clean Water Act. It's called NPDES. It's a great program that really controls contractors and anybody else in the public, but mostly contractors, to make sure they are permitted. They also hold the same restrictions on us. We can't go and do whatever we want whenever we like. We have to prove that we are not polluting that waterway, and they inspect us the whole way through and report at the end. So it's multiple departments working together to get that. But if you want to talk more, let's do it.
Yeah, by the way, Brian spent 11 years at the Board of Water Supply. He's a hell of an engineer. He's currently with Design and Construction. This man, Gene Albano, is the Director for Facilities and Maintenance. Michael Keefe with Environmental Services. Michael, you want to take a...
Cesspools. So approximately 8,000 or so on Oahu. Statewide, we actually have a relatively small amount. There's many, many more on Hawaii Island, for example. But cesspools on Oahu, there's going to kind of be a two-phased approach to dealing with the cesspools that we have here. The first is going to be primarily led by the city. So we have in our capital budget right now money to bring sewer systems to communities, larger communities that are currently on cesspools. For example, we're in design phase right now for a community out in Ewa Beach. So a community is kind of a rectangle shape, about 976 homes, really close to the water. We're going to be building a sewer system there, and then the folks are going to connect to that. So that'll knock out 1,000 homes right there of the 8,000 or so that are on cesspool right now. We have the numbers escaping me right now, but we have like 5 or 6 other programs like that one out in Ewa Beach that we're going to be implementing in different communities across Oahu, and that'll knock out a lot of them, but not all of them. So kind of the second phase to cesspools here, and it's something that we're talking with the State Department of Health on, is for those kind of 1, 2, 3 off homes that, we just cannot build a sewer system there yet. It's just not gonna be economical. Constructability is going to be very difficult. It's homes that are not near each other, not near an existing city sewer or anything like that. So it just doesn't make sense to build a huge sewer line to connect them to the city sewers that's far away. The challenge there is going to be figuring out how to help those folks transition from a cesspool to some sort of on-site treatment or just a collection system, whether it be like a septic tank with a leach field or something else that they can there's a lot of things in the market right now, but it's some sort of on-site treatment system that they actually don't need a sewer, but those things are expensive. And that's where the challenge is going to be. And so we're talking to the state. There's a cesspool conversion working group that is the city's involved with, the state's involved with, and there's many other stakeholders that they just finished meeting, wrote a report, and now we're going to engage with them on how to help people who are on cesspools finance getting off of cesspools.
Thank you. Thank you very much for your answers.
Thank you, Arlene.
Sorry, Mayor. I got one more piece. So For just the general public who really likes to take care of their lawn, be very cautious of how you use fertilizer. That fertilizer gets into the waterways, it actually creates algae blooms and sucks the oxygen out of the waterways and kills fish. You get massive die-off. So please be very careful with your fertilizer.
And then we'll get to you next, okay? Go ahead. She's got to leave. Why don't you ask the question now? It's okay.
Okay, thank you. Aloha, Mayor and members of the Cabinet. My name is Lisa Lockhart, and I live right over here in Koko Head Terrace on the other side of the park. My question to you is, I'm wondering what kind of efforts are being undertaken in the wake of the disaster on Maui to mitigate wildfire risk in island-wide, but particularly in this area. We are particularly vulnerable for those residents who live here by the park because we abut the Koko Head shooting range, and there's been a number of fires caused by the shooting range over the years. So I was just wondering if you could speak to that.
Good question.
Thank you.
Chief? I'm not sure if the firing range caused the fires. We don't know record of that, but go ahead, sir.
Oh, no, thank you for your question. Excellent question. So for the fire department, we have three means to address all of our types of emergency incidents. We use prevention, preparedness, and emergency response. So for wildland fires, from a prevention aspect, we always preach public education. We have a really good website, fire.honolulu.gov, good wildland fire information, fire safety. We work closely with other agencies, such as the Hawaii Wildfire Management Organization, HWMO. They're always trying to preach fire-wise communities to make sure your communities are safe. Great, I'm glad you're doing that. We also have social media, public service announcements. We can definitely prevent using the fire code, so we can send inspectors out to areas to make sure that dried vegetation is a certain distance away from structures. We can use the fire code for that. We work with state agencies to help us with mitigating areas on their land to make sure brush is away from structures. From a preparedness standpoint, we are very much prepared to address all types of wildland fire incidents. I'll say this, we are a very large department. We have 332 personnel working on a daily basis. We have 43 fire stations, which means we have 43 engine trucks, we have 16 aerials, we have 4 specialty companies, we have 5 tankers that can each carry 2,000 gallons of water. We have a really excellent air program. We always have 2 helicopters that are operating every day. So hard to reach areas to fight wildland fires, they can carry up to 100 gallons of water to put out the fire. We've increased our efforts in responding to fires on initial calls, whereas before we only used to send 1 engine company to a wildland fire initially. We now send 2 engines and a tanker to every single call island-wide. And last but not least, we have excellent partners throughout the island. We have our federal fire department partners. Their jurisdiction is the military bases, but we'll co-respond with them. They'll help us fight fires, we'll help them. We have our state crash units that are responsible for the airports. They have robust equipment to help us out. And last but not least, we have our military and National Guard partners where they have humongous helicopters where they can carry at least 2,000 gallons of water to put out fires. So we are doing everything we can from those 3 points of view to mitigate. We're not going to let a tragic Lahaina fire happen on this island. We've been around for 176 years now. We've had very good success in addressing all types of wildland fires. So I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, thank you. I want to thank you personally too for the bang-up job that you guys have done to protect our neighborhood from the fires that we've had so far. My concern is specifically with the possibility of fires being started at Koko Head shooting range, and then also if there are people that we can contact that would help us to eliminate some of the dry brush and things that could be potential fuels for wildfire.
So what you can do is you can contact our Fire Prevention Bureau. I can give the number right now. It's 808-723-7161. Call that number. We'll send out inspectors to evaluate the area. If there's anything dangerous where we have dried vegetation close to structures, we can enforce the fire code. And, you know, we can work with the landowner, right, in that sense. So,
We'll,
you know, that's what we do.
we'll get you that number before you leave, because that was a lot to take down. But, you know, you said something about the firing range. I know Laura Thiel's here. I don't ever recall hearing of a fire as a result of the firing range. And I don't know if you want to shed, Laura, anything on that? Thanks, Chief.
So the firing range is not a fire risk itself. The range is actually managed. The lawn area is mowed, it's maintained, so it's not overgrown. We did have an outdoor range expert come and do a review of the range. The backstops are at a height where, you know, we've ensured that the bullets will go through the target and into the earthen backstops, and they're captured there. So when we have law enforcement is going to be coming to do training, we have an agreement now with HPD that they will verify the course of training for any law enforcement agency, like the federal agencies, the state agencies, are suitable for the range, so any bullets will be captured by the backstops. So the range itself is not a fire hazard. It's a place that's actually very contained and well maintained.
Thank you. Sorry it took you so long to get to ask you a question. Sir.
Mr. Mayor, Ikaika Rogerson here from Oahu Hawaiian Canoe Racing Association. We represent 40 different canoe clubs throughout the island here, and approximately 55 koa canoes that are all in city facilities or halaus that are on city and county beaches that are all aging and are in need of some help.
Okay.
We just need some help repairing them. There's canoe clubs such as Huinalu that are fundraising on their own to repair
Right.
some of these facilities, and they just need some
So tell me again, Ikaika, how many canoes you think need to be repaired?
canoe hales or
Yeah, well, you talk about the holidays, right? Not the canoes themselves.
right the facility, not
in
the
their,
canoe.
in their city facilities?
Correct.
Okay. I'll have to come back. You want to offer something on that? Okay. Because I don't know.
So many of the canoe halau are in city park areas. We did recently release the council funding that was provided for a new canoe halau out in Haleiwa, and our department is working with the Department of Design and Construction to plan for that. We met with Okra the other day out at Keehi Lagoon because there's a halau there, and so we're going to be examining doing some things with them. But we do have we revitalized the Adopt a Park program, and we've been working with a lot of organizations where they want to contribute to improvements or maintenance of areas. And so we've simplified that process, and we would really welcome those types of partnerships with Okra, because we know that these areas are very important to your organizations. So we started that conversation. DDC had joined me with their director as well out at Keehi, and I think they're going back to talk with the members of the group about some possibilities for various Adopt-a-Park agreements and things that we can do in parks in partnership to help these areas.
That's great. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, Ikaika, I have reverence for the sport of paddling. So, and I understand the value of those canoes. I was curious how many canoes, but go ahead, Anton.
So is your group an association or 501c3? That's excellent. So, one avenue you could do would be grants and aid. And so I'll give you my card after the meeting, and then there's a time period of those applications, and that may be something that could add to your solutions.
Thank you. Thanks, Anton. Councilwoman Radia Cordero just walked in. There she is. Give her a little... Thanks for joining us. Appreciate it. Brandy.
Good evening. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Chairman Waters. I'm a Sandy Beach body surfer. 2 years ago, I submitted a plan for consideration for paving the dirt lot at Sandy Beach. That plan was pushed ahead. Funding was made. I noted on a District 4 flyer that it was on the project list for this year. Can we find out if that's actually going to happen this year? And then I have a second question that's kind of related to that.
Does anyone know the answer to that? Couldn't hear you.
What's the project? I couldn't hear you.
With the project again, sir?
The project is paving the dirt lot at Sandy Beach. The right side as you enter the lot. That's being paving.
You want to pay?
Paving.
Oh, okay.
Paving the dirt lot.
Paving the dirt lot, expanding the parking, which would double it, improving the landscaping.
So this is the area where the boulders are over on the Kaiwi side?
If you want to call them boulders, sure.
Okay.
It's rip rock that when cars on the weekends decide to do donuts and kick things around,
Okay.
cars
So
are damaged, people are injured.
We have been working with the community in the area to try and stop the cars from driving onto the beach. I don't know if you guys have a project, but there's certain areas that would not really be suitable for paving, partly because being next to the ocean, but I'm not sure if we're talking about the same area.
I believe we are, and that was part of my second question, which would be the closure or park hours, which I believe is still under discussion, but my understanding is there is funding for this project. And it is on the list of projects to be done this year. So my question is, will that happen?
I believe, Councilmember Waters, did you reach out to us and trying to start planning on that? Okay. So yeah, we've been coordinating on that. We're trying to schedule that, lock down the funding, and we'll try and identify a fiscal year when we can actually start working on that. But just to make sure we're talking about that, this is the main beach break side, right as you turn, but on the Malka side of that, it's usually all torn up. It's a sandy area. Cars get stuck. There's the gravel that's there, and when cars get stuck, they start kicking that around all over the place.
Correct.
Correct. Yeah, we're going to work together on that.
Well,
Okay.
Chair Waters said,
I don't think we have funding at this time.
Okay.
And the second question was basically what you were talking about was cars that were driving illegally on the weekends. And so consideration was being talked about potentially closing the park or putting up signs so that it could be enforced.
So the neighborhood board has been in discussion about a park closure. So normally the park department works with the neighborhood boards. The board had voted to close one of the beach parks. There was a number of people in the community. As you know, there's a constitutional right to access the ocean in Hawaii State Constitution, a constitutional right to fish. A number of people came forward and were very concerned about the park closure. So the neighborhood board is going to be having more conversations about whether that would be an appropriate thing to do in that location. And we encourage that broad community conversation. I think there was also discussion that the real desire is to stop people from driving on the beach, not necessarily stopping people from accessing the beach by foot at night. So there's been some long time discussion with the Department of Transportation about the ability to put guardrails up there. And so we're working with the board on some options to prevent people from driving to the beach. I wish we had bigger boulders. There's not a boulder store, so we kind of have to use what we have. If people do have connections where there are other barricades that can go in, some people are very determined about moving them, but we've worked in partnership with the military and others to be able to barricade off sensitive areas, and we'll work with any partners that can get us access to that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate the question.
My name is Franklin. Not a day that goes by when I'm standing or walking on the pedestrian sidewalk that I don't almost get hit by some kind of motorized vehicle, be it an electric bike, electric scooter that people stand on, or even electric skateboard. I almost got taken out by an electric skateboard. What, if anything, can be done to enhance the safety of pedestrians?
Yeah. You're talking about they're riding those on the sidewalks, right? Where? Everywhere?
Yeah.
Roger Morton, Director of Transportation Services. I think you should try to use it unless you're really going to yell, Roger.
So the proliferation of all these electronic devices are a problem island-wide. We've had some serious accidents. I was pleased to see that Eva Middle School has banned those devices from campus. I wish that other schools would do the same thing. Long term, what can we do to do that? First, the law has been passed by the state and has been added to the traffic code. One of the issues is that you have to be 15 years old in order to operate those motorized vehicles. We see a lot around town where they're less than 15, and that's a problem. Longer term, we are trying to retool our streets. We are putting in more bike facilities. These kind of devices kind of work pretty good in a bike facility. Those are kind of long term. So I think that the issues for today are number one, education. I think parents need to be to be educated that there are laws, and I think that these are not toys. We've had 2 young children that were injured within the last 2 months, and we just we got to do something. I think education is a big piece. I think enforcement has to be a big piece too, and then longer term, we need to re-engineer our streets a little bit so that we can have places where bicycles can be, where these electronic devices, they're not going away. These are new technology, and they're not going to go away, so we need to adopt ourselves to how can we have them and have them be safe. I hope that answers the question a little bit.
Thank you, Roger. Sir, I'll give you my microphone since there's nobody near you.
Mr. Morton, we know that there's some projects out here to traffic calm things. I just wanted to ask an update on that from you.
Sure. We've had 2 good meetings with Gene Ward, community meetings. The last one we had was probably a month ago, Gene. My staff has taken steps to take a look at some of them. One thing is clear is when we do these types of traffic calming projects, which we do, we are probably not going to find a consensus where everybody is happy with the solution. As you know, you've sat in on some of those meetings. We have some people that, and in Hawaii Kai, one of the issues is these streets are called, I used to call them Roy Parker streets for those that have been here a long, long time, but they're the widest streets around, and they do encourage people to speed. And so there's a lot of traffic engineering techniques we can take to do it. And we're working with the community. We owe Gene another report back, and my staff's working on it right now.
All right. Thank you, Roger. I promised this young lady the second question. We're almost ready to go off the air, so go ahead.
Straight to the question. My concern is the little fire ants and the coconut rhinoceros beetles, and I wanted to know specifically what the parks and entertainment area
Yeah,
wants.
it's a major issue. Okay, have everybody heard has to do with rhinoceros beetles, invasive species, right? Laura, you want to take a shot at that?
Thank you. So unfortunately, the coconut rhinoceros beetle has become so widespread on Oahu that the State Invasive Species Council has said it's not able to eradicate it at this point. So what we have been doing is the larva will hatch in mulch or compost or any kind of plant litter that's 2 inches thick or bigger. We have gotten rid of the mulch at the community gardens. We no longer spread mulch in our parks. We are monitoring where there are trees that are damaged, and we're unfortunately having to take them down. We make sure that when we bring in trees, that we isolate them in our new Nu'uanu nursery. We test them for little fire ants, other types of invasives. If anything is found in them, we notify the nursery from where we bought it. But we make sure that it's safe before we would plant it out in any other location. And then our urban forestry division is working to diversify our trees. Invasives have also taken over some of the Chinese banyan. We've had to take down some of the exceptional trees in Kapiolani Park. So we're trying to intervene early so they don't then infest other trees around them. And then when we're replanting, we're replanting a wider variety of trees, because what they're telling me is the days where you could have like a whole row of identical trees, it's not a good defense when, we've got climate change and invasive species are going to be, coconut rhinoceros beetle is today. We don't know what's going to be tomorrow and next month. So we're trying to make sure that we can keep a variety of trees around the island because we know that's really important to keeping not only our island beautiful, but also comfortable and cool and healthy.
All right, so we are literally almost out of time. I'm sorry. I'll stay and talk to you. There was a question about homelessness. We talk a lot about that. I'm very excited about the road ahead and the things that we're doing. And you're going to see some very positive impact. We have established an entirely different relationship of working with the state and the county, the resources we're putting against it. You know, we had a point-in-time count came out last week, 4,500 people. That was actually identical to the number pre-COVID. It was up a few hundred from last year. Since the man mentioned earlier, I was in D.C. I was invited to go back on the Conference of Mayors. I was there with 40 other mayors, and every city had tremendous spikes. That's why they were there from COVID. The fact that we kept our numbers flat is a long story, but what we intend to do, it's a good story actually, what we intend to do is unprecedented. So I want to tell you that. I just want to thank everybody for coming out. Justin, I want to thank you for your passion. I asked everybody to keep it civil. It was good. I hope that we try to demonstrate to you. We want to answer as many questions as possible. I appreciate the passion and your caring. That's even why you're here tonight, why you would come out on a Thursday night. So I thank you. I will tell you again, this is an incredible collection of men and women. I can promise you is very committed and very capable of what they're doing. And while we can't solve everything, we are working each and every day to improve the quality of life on our island. Thank you all for being here tonight. Thank you.